Hey guys, welcome back. And seriously, you're going to want to stay for this one. Today's video is a full deep dive into a sovereign citizen out of Thurston County that I've been following for a long time. And his case has officially reached the point where things are about to explode, with a jury trial right around the corner. This is the perfect moment to pull everything together, every hearing, every argument, every bizarre claim, and every courtroom meltdown, and lay it all out in one complete breakdown. That way, when he steps back into court next time, he'll already know exactly how he got here, what patterns he's followed, and why this trial is shaping up to be one you don't want to miss. Let's get into it. That has to be one of the worst excuses I've ever heard for representing yourself in a criminal trial where your freedom is literally on the line. Think about it this way. You're in Los Angeles. You're told you have 24 hours to get to New York or your life falls apart. Are you really going to turn down a trained pilot, someone whose entire job is safely getting people from point A to point B just so you can grab the controls and try to fly the plane yourself? Sure, there are plenty of things in life you should handle on your own. Tying your shoes, getting dressed, maybe remembering your helmet. But there are also moments where you hand controls to someone who actually knows what they're doing, flying a plane, performing brain surgery, and yes, navigating a courtroom where your freedom is at stake. This guy thinks he's leveling up by going solo, but all he's really doing is lining himself up for a spectacular crash landing. First of all, yes, you absolutely did enter into a legal relationship with the court the moment you chose to drive drunk on public roads. That's not hidden sovereignty wisdom or some spiritual loophole. That's just basic law. And this whole performance about the court being in Prius while you're supposedly implementing Rule N, that wasn't legal insight. It was you trying to sound clever while saying absolutely nothing. Here's the reality. The court isn't Prius because it's the court of original jurisdiction, the court that makes the initial determinations before anything ever reaches an appellate level. That's not controversial. It's settled terminology. So when you proudly announce that the court is in Prius, you weren't exposing a loophole. You were openly confirming that this is the very court that has authority over you. So now he's arguing that he's not actually himself, but some abstract persona existing in the likeness of another being. Let me make this painfully simple. You should be begging the court to recognize you as a person, because the alternative does not work in your favor. Objects don't have constitutional rights. Chairs don't get due process. A filing cabinet can't demand a jury trial. The moment you start arguing yourself out of personhood, you're sawing off the very branch you're standing on. It's self-sabotage disguised as philosophy, and the only person who seems impressed by it is him. You don't get to consent to a court order any more than you get to consent to being locked in a jail cell. Your approval simply isn't part of the equation because that's not how the legal system functions. Court orders aren't optional, and jail is definitely not a choose-your-own adventure. Now, let's move on to his next hearing. And trust me, things get even stranger. This time, his entire family shows up in the courtroom, and the dynamic shifts immediately. What happens next tells you everything you need to know about how deeply this sovereign citizen fantasy has spread and how much work the judge has to do just to keep the room anchored in reality. If this judge actually wanted to intimidate him, he wouldn't need a gavel. He could just hand him a basic math worksheet and watch him spiral for the rest of the afternoon. But intimidation isn't the goal here, not even remotely. The judge is genuinely trying to help him because it's painfully obvious this guy has no idea how to help himself. Every choice he makes digs the hole deeper, and the judge is practically lowering a ladder right in front of him, one he stubbornly refuses to climb. You're really putting the extra in special appearance today. And the best part, you dropped the dramatic with the people like you were delivering the opening line of the Constitution. Bold move, especially considering that phrase refers to an entire group of people, which is ironic given that you spent this entire hearing insisting you're not a person at all. You can't invoke we the people while simultaneously opting out of the category of people. Pick a lane, my friend. All right, that brings this hearing to a close. Nothing especially complicated. Just another dose of classic sovereign citizen paint-chip logic delivered with maximum confidence and zero self-awareness. The only real plot twist was him showing up with his entire family in tow, like a live demonstration of how not to handle your court case. And if they walked in hoping for clarity, they definitely walked out with more questions than answers. In other words, nobody cares and you can head straight back to jail. Now, let's jump ahead to his next hearing, which is actually the hearing after his next hearing, because the one in between never made it onto YouTube. And judging by the docket, we didn't miss much. It looks like yet another judge spent the entire session swatting down his motions one by one and cutting him off before he could dump any more sovereign citizen nonsense into the record. Same formula as always. Sky-high confidence, zero legal footing, and a judge stuck doing courtroom cleanup. That's classic. He claims he doesn't believe in the government and insists it has zero jurisdiction over him. Yet, he's perfectly fine with the government and the taxpayers footing the bill for his own personal investigation. Funny how that anti-government stance disappears the moment someone else is paying for it. Oh, so he already received all the discovery. Then what is he actually complaining about? Because at that point, this isn't a legal issue anymore. It's just noise for the sake of noise.